Greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm Professor Spira, and we're going to continue our discussion of Lesson 16, Transition Diet Part 2, in Professor Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System, annotated, revised, and edited by Professor Spira. Vegetables and fruits. My experience has taught me that only raw celery, lettuce, carrots, and beets combine well with fruits. In general, it is best never to use more than 3 kinds with the same combination. Always use one kind as the prevailing stock or base. For a bad acid, well, I guess let's talk about that. So essentially, Ehret recommends as a guideline to separate, in general, separate the vegetables and the fruits. And he's saying there's only a few combinations, there's only a few fruit and vegetable combinations that eliminate fairly well or digest okay. So he's saying that combining something like raw celery, lettuce, and carrots and beets, those items combine well with fruits. Now this would be a piece that I maybe differ a little bit on my opinion on how Ehret put this, where I don't think those items don't combine well with all fruits, and I tend to recommend people sort of stay away from that, to not get into, because you could interpret this and say, okay, let me just take lettuce, celery, just all the basics, a lot of the basic salad items, and then eat it with a bunch of fruit at the same time. I don't think that's what he's saying, because before he had already talked about eating fruits first, vegetables second. So I don't know. I mean, I can see how this could create a bit of confusion here. But again, it still comes back to the principle of simplicity, where it says, in general, it is best never to use more than 3 kinds with the same combination, and you always want to have a prevailing stock of something. So, I mean, one of the only vegetable and fruit combinations that I really found useful for me personally was celery and apples. So it's chop up celery and apple, or even just eat, kind of eat some celery stalks and take some apples and eat that. Those tended to combine pretty well. For a bad acid or mucused stomach, use menus consisting of more vegetables and very little fruits. For a stomach in better condition, or the average stomach, use more fruits and fewer vegetables. So again, here, for all the people thinking, oh, all fruit diet. Did you just hear what he said? In general, it is best never to use more than 3 kinds. For a bad acid or mucus stomach, use menus consisting of more vegetables with very little fruit. More vegetables with very little fruit. And the reason I'm emphasizing this is because there's so many people that, again, frame Ehret as this raw fruit extremist. And he's not that. He's simply not that. For the following is an example. For a bad stomach, take a stock, 2/3 grated or shredded raw carrots, or grated celery, or grated beets may be used, although carrots are best. Add 1/3 of finely sliced, very ripe bananas, and a few raisins or sliced dried figs. No nuts or cereals. Never mix nuts with wet fruits. Now I would say that's a principle. Never mix nuts with wet fruits. That's in uppercase. That's the level of a principle where never do that. Don't use that as a transition. Don't transition off of mixing. No, just stand firm on that and say don't do that. Don't mix the wet fruits with nuts. You might get away with it once, but it's not a happy time once you start to really get your stomach more organized and cleaner, that's gonna not feel too good if you do that. So good principle there. For a better stomach, take a stock, 2/3 sliced or grated apples, 1/3 shredded carrots or celery or beets to increase the efficiency of this combination in its aggressive dissolving functions as a mucus and poison eliminator. Add more raisins, sliced dry figs, honey, or fruit jelly. So regardless of if you think you have a bad, so-called bad, because it's not really bad, it's just the language he's using. So again, if there's a self-esteem issue, don't think that, oh, I got a bad stomach. Like it's not meant to come across like that. It's just being honest with yourself about your toxicity. If you're a uric acid type, we'll talk, if you don't understand that, we've talked about that on some other videos, but you understand that there's certain symptoms and things that you might have to go through that would be different from your mucus bodied friends. So it's not that one, better or bad, or good or bad, or in terms of worth. It's just understanding what you need to do based on your own physiology. Fruit acid dissolves waste and forms gases. So that's just the chemistry, and you could study the chemistry of this kind of thing even separate from the diet if you wanted a deeper understanding. Where is this gas coming from? What type of gas is it? There's a lot of people, if there's a lot of acids in the system, you eat some raw fruit, oh, painful gas all over the place. But if you eat some of the stewed or cooked fruit, again, as Eric suggested, you can mitigate that a little bit, slow that down so that it's not as extreme. Both eliminate, and for this reason can become harmful if they work too intensively. It is therefore advisable to use raw vegetables as a broom more frequently. For this same reason, use stewed fruits in the beginning, or at least half and half. For example, half raw grated apples with the skin and half applesauce sweetened with honey. Now I feel like dropping the mic. And I don't mean to come across again. I mean, if you can see, it's just, I'm a little frustrated. I do get a little frustrated. It's like when people don't, it's like they haven't read the book, or they don't understand the transition. It's all right here. We don't need to be so hard on ourselves. We don't need to think that we're living up to this, to some fantasy idea of where we're supposed to be at or what we're supposed to do. It's just about practicing the system. This ain't something to be obsessing over and getting stressed about and all that kind of stuff. It's like you either resonate with the system and you get it and you understand it, or you're not feeling it. But you shouldn't be doing it if your thing is, well, I want to eat nothing but fruit as soon as possible, then this is probably not for you, because this is not what Eric's intention was. This is not his message. That's not what we promote and endorse. We endorse transition diet, rational forms of fasting, and understanding how to put all of these different pieces together systematically to form a supremely powerful healing system. So I think I'm going to end it there. Brothers and sisters, I thank you for tuning in, and until next time, peace, love, and breath.